Welcome to Health Situations, and today I have someone that I respect so much. I respect her writing, I respect everything about her. So whenever I look at her, I'm just like, when I grow up. So I have that when I grew up thing. And this is Bookie. Miss Bookie, welcome to Health Situations.
Thank you so much, Augustine.
Yes.
My pleasure.
Yes, welcome. It's good to have you. So lately we've been talking, and I'll be like, mental health, and she's always like, let me know when you're. I'm like, yes, we need to do this. We need to do this. Even before this started, we're kind of talking about why is it like we just downplay people's emotions, especially in this part of the world. Why is it like people downplay emotion? You're talking about this thing. They refer you to something else. People are hungry. You are saying you are feeling it. I beg. But it's not. At this point, we're supposed to begin to pick these things.
Honestly, I'm amazed at the kind of reaction you get when you want to talk of depression or anything that has to do with mental health in general. I'm amazed because it's like there's not much awareness. So people just expect you to just get up and get on with life. They don't know the gravity of what, mental health is. Whereas in other developed countries, you find they take it very seriously.
Yeah.
In fact, if you want to see a psychiatrist, it costs a lot of money for sessions and all that. And then you find that there are some times where you are working in a company and then you have to be checked daily. Your mental health has to be checked. Not daily, sorry, but at least once in a while.
Yeah.
So that they can gauge your emotions.
Yeah.
Especially, I know this happens mostly with people that are in security, in the security sector.
Yeah.
You're going around with a gun. Definitely, you have to be right
stable.
Upstairs. You have to be stable.
So they do take their time, they do see them once in a while. They go and visit their shrink. Maybe something has happened at the field of
exactly.
So they go. But here we don't, and it's about time, because I've heard again and again how young people, old people commit suicide, and we're like, this is not our thing. It's not in our family. Like, it's time for us to begin to set pace and
I agree with
cause change, because before you know, especially the young ones coming up,
very true,
that are always on their phones, that are not even, sometimes I feel like they are not in tune with.
Exactly, they are not connecting with reality. With what is happening around them.
So which makes it easy for them one day.
Video games, and parents are not. Some parents, let me not say all, are not so, how will I put it now? Are not so watchful to know what kind of video games they are even, their children are indulging in. So many violence, shooting and all. I'm like, why would I want to buy that sort of video game for my child?
Yeah.
But then, well, I think government is an issue government has to look into. But we won't just leave it alone to government. We'll leave it alone to all the private institutions, like employers. In short, mainly employers, because you have to know the condition of the mental health your staff is in, even before you employ them. And then this is something you need to help them check. Because you find instances where, like that sad story, of the lady that committed suicide. I think she was working with a bank, and I don't think anybody saw that coming. Because when it happened, everyone was like, oh, she was always so this, she was always so that. But then you need to look closer. Sometimes people use happiness to cover sadness.
Yes.
They use it as a cloak. Or sometimes they use working hard to cover how they actually feel.
Being busy, yeah.
Exactly. So we really, really, really need to do something about this.
Yeah.
Even in the home front as well.
So I was going through something about midlife crisis, quarter life crisis, and all that. And then I found out that the word itself midlife crisis started in 1960 society, where people in their 40s, 50s have their children leaving their nest, have everybody would have left. Then they begin to feel like, okay, they need to start up their life again. But this time around, there are teens there are 20s, 30s that are going through
It's incredible.
midlife
Ridiculous.
crisis. So and most of the time I think it has to do with that point in your life where you begin to see that okay, reality is setting up. Okay, I'm beginning to live from childhood and I'm beginning to evolve. And what I thought is no longer what it is.
Exactly.
Like there's supposed to be like a shift, or like maybe someone holding your hand, mentoring you and say, okay, this is how it should go. I knew growing up I had these big aunties and big friends that I would always run to and say, this is what's happening, and she would laugh. And that laughter came from a place of she had experienced it. So I always felt like, very free, knowing that someone had passed through it. So one of the things I think that this thing is, we are taking it for granted. Like we were saying earlier, you told me that you also realize that it doesn't just happen, it happens at different age. Like that notion of being 40 and having midlife crisis is no longer what it is.
It's no longer what it is. It's no longer what it is. People believe, okay, let's say traditionally they tell you 40. You've heard that popular saying, life begins at 40.
Yes.
Maybe they're probably making fun of midlife crisis. Who knows?
Yeah.
But then they tell you it starts at a point in the middle of your life. They say 40. But actually it can start, you mentioned 30, it can start 30. It can even start much more earlier than that. It depends on the particular individual that's involved. So you get to a point where you're like, okay, it's like you were dreaming and you just woke up. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? This job is no longer making me happy.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the fat paycheck I had planned from the very beginning. That I wanted to be an astronaut when I was little.
Oh wow.
But I'm nowhere near being an astronaut.
Wow.
It is a crazy dream.
Yeah.
So you come up with those kind of things, as in, I'm not where I want to be.
Yes.
My colleagues are way up there. I am here. My life, I don't know, my relationship, my everything around you just doesn't seem right. And you begin to question your existence. You begin to search for purpose, meaning to this life you are living. That's midlife crisis. But then the thing is, the comforting thing is that everybody goes through this stage in life. It might come earlier, it might come later. Everybody goes through it. So there will always be somebody around to sort of like help you and see you through. So you don't have to keep it to yourself. It's always safe and good to voice out how you are feeling. You don't know, somebody might just say the right thing to help you address. It even goes through stages, where you start questioning life, where you start being depressed about who you are, where you are, not being satisfied. And then gradually you go to denial. Denial, and then finally you get to a stage where you accept everything that's happening. You accept it and you just say to yourself, see, I'll focus on the things I can change and leave the rest to God. Okay, we that are Christians or believers, leave the rest to God. The supreme being that's higher than all of us. He created me. Leave the rest to Him and just change what you can change.
So Ms. Buki has given us like what it's it's not about being we so much add maybe years, people's age. What is he thinking about? Is this young boy? He should just focus on those general notions. Those are some things we need to change. And I've heard about families that their children were going through stuff and then they just bundle them and take them back to the village. Yes.
They don't even keep them close.
They
so
don't
they can
even
watch
keep
them.
them close.
That is sad.
It's very, very sad. Like when I heard of it, it was crazy. I was like, why? I think people going through things is a time for them to be shown more affection, more love.
Exactly.
It's a time in their life where they need more communication, more support. So bonding someone because you do not know you don't know what's wrong with the person, you just bond the person and take the person far away from you just because of what the society will say. and
That's
what
very
other
sad.
people will say, and not wanting to dent the family's image.
That's
I
very
think
sad.
those are one of our issues, especially in this side
In
of
Africa.
yes. Other people, what other families say that our family are, and then so we cover it up. We cover it up till there's an outburst.
But there always is an outburst, which is why we
Terrible.
need to address it as it comes.
Yeah.
You know, because there are so many. We're in the 21st century. Even if you don't find someone you can talk to, you have artificial intelligence chats, GP. You can find out about all these things online, and then there are certain apps now that you can even download that would help you go through what you're going through, because a lot of people, like we've said, a lot of people have already experienced this thing. So some have turned it into an app that will help you, get on with your life. It's not something that is impossible to overcome. The only people I feel, maybe the only times I feel maybe it got worse is when people are not noticing your cry for help sign, and then it degenerates, and that gets you into depression, and then from depression you try and inflict harm upon yourself. But then I think our parents out there should be more watchful of their children, of the people around them, young people around them, even the elderly youths around them. Be watchful for these signs. It's always there. It's subtle. It's always there. You don't just say, this child is being so stubborn, or this child is being so withdrawn, or this, or there's a reason. Try and dig into that reason. And okay, I think for midlife crisis, normally, I got this from calm.com. It's a very good website that talks about mental health, that helps with mental health.
Yeah.
One of the first things you will notice with the person is increased anxiety. They said it can be a signal, of midlife crisis. So it makes you more anxious about your future, your place in the world. And then restlessness can also accompany that. Dissatisfaction with life, desire for significant life changes. That's the breaking point. And most people overcome it. Like, okay, how am I going to do better? How am I going to get out of this mess that I'm in? And then they walk towards it. Sometimes it can be a minimal change, and for others it can be like a whopping, very big change, like a new job, new life, new environment, things like that. And I think that is when you begin to accept. And you feel better accepting that, okay. There's a saying, I don't know if it's a Buddhist saying that goes that Lord help me to is it help me
Change
to
the things I can,
yes,
and give me wisdom to
is it
yes,
but you know what I'm talking
yes, I know that proverb.
Yes.
I know the proverb.
So
Yeah.
it's
And
like,
to know the difference. So there are actually
wisdom to know the
things
difference,
you
yes.
can
change the
change
things I can,
Yeah.
those I cannot, and then to know
the difference between the both.
It's-
Yeah. So truly there are actually things that we can change. There are things that that are more than above our pay grade. Things that you can't, but that little one we can do before the person before it gets to her that
out of hand.
she just killed herself. Meanwhile, she was just here playing with the kids, and it's going to be so hard on the family. It's going to be so hard on the people around, not knowing that where they could have helped.
Exactly. If they had known this person was suffering so much. Because the other lady that committed a suicide, she actually left a letter.
Yes.
So there was no doubt that there was no doubt about it that she took her own life.
Yeah.
And the general theme of the letter was she couldn't take life anymore.
And how did he get to that point?
How did he get to that point?
How?
And no one saw it coming.
No one
saw it coming. Or maybe they had feelings, but and that's why I feel government should create more like institutions that focus on mental health, and people should not be shy of visiting like a therapist. But the thing is, you find over here that most times when you go to see a therapist, they just give you medication. It's actually supposed to be a kind of like a session where I talk to you, you talk to me, but you find these days that I know of someone that was actually, receiving therapy, and all they were just doing was just giving him drugs and drugs and drugs and drugs. And he relapsed. And it grew worse. It was worse off than he was before. So I mean, government should look into all of these things. If it means sending some of our people here for training there, and maybe creating particular, maybe it might not be in the hospital, it might be in the hospital, but maybe a section of well-trained staff to treat mental health. I don't know much about, I don't know if they have mental health practices here that are private.
They are not so common.
They are not so common because traditionally people feel you shouldn't even be going through this. You should be a man, be a woman, be strong, get over it, this, that. But they actually, I have a feeling you can't really understand mental health until you are in that situation yourself.
Yes.
I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Because no one can really describe how the person concerned is feeling.
In fact, that's the reason why most of the time the person also feels like nobody understands why they are going through or what they are going through. Meanwhile, like it is obvious that people have gone through that. People have gone that way, and they came out stronger. So we all need each other at the end of the day. We all need each other. We need our families. We need our friends.
Our neighbors.
Yes. And we need to be kind to ourselves.
Exactly.
We need to be kind to ourselves because it's just easy for us to just downplay people's emotions.
Exactly.
Which make them harbor it for so long that they will not want to share.
You don't know even what a smile can do to somebody's day.
Yes.
Smile actually helps.
Yes.
I mean, when you smile,
yes.
when you are smiled at, the two, you don't know what you can do to how you can change somebody's day by just smiling at them and just saying hello. Well,
see, the mental health is such a big thing, and it's something we should start creating more and more awareness for. Like that's something I always like to. Why do I always like this? Because I've been there. I have been in situations where I have been depressed. I have been in situations where I felt like, oh no. What am I even here for? Just like you were explaining, it gets to a point you begin to feel the denial. No. You begin to ask questions like, what am I even? What really? See that point of you and reality, you trying to figure out yourself. That's why at any stage or at any age, depending on whoever, depending on individuals, it can
and
just.
I think environment too.
Yeah, environment too plays an important role. So it can just spike up. It can just shoot its head. Midlife crisis can just come. At that point where you begin to question your reality, at that point where you begin to question your personality, at that point where you begin to question, this is no longer serving me. How do I start again? And sometimes we hang on to something for so long that we are afraid to lose it. We are afraid of what the next chapter will be. That's why we are hanging on so long to something that is no longer serving us. So this brings me to starting over again. Why is this so hard? Why is this so hard? Hey,
let me give an example. I think it was an example someone once gave at a lecture. For example, now you have a bird in a cage. That bird has been in that cage for so long, hitting against it to come out and everything. And then it has been there for years and years and years. And then finally the door of the cage goes open. And the bird is moving back, reluctant to come out. And even if you are trying to help it out, it's still doesn't want to come out.
Yeah.
I think we can use that as an example for what is happening now. Okay, this is the kind of life you are used to. These are the kind of emotions and feelings that you are used to. And then all of a sudden, you have an opportunity to help yourself, but you're not really putting in any effort. I believe we shouldn't let it get to that stage. It happens. You see depression with teenagers. It can just be so sad. And some turn to drugs or they turn to other things. And before you know it, it's like, okay, it's a way of life for them. So just leave me alone, Jeje. Let me continue the way I am. They need that help. They are crying for that help. But they are afraid, like you said, of the next step, of change. Everyone is afraid of change. But then it's important because once they can get themselves together and actually like have a set routine that can bring them out of that hole that they are in that hole of depression, it helps. If they have like a set routine, every day, if it's to do meditation, and some will tell you yoga,
Exercise.
just I've forgotten something I should have mentioned a long time ago. Self-care. Self-care is also very important. Add that to your routine. Self-care doesn't mean you're selfish. Please, you guys shouldn't get it wrong at all. Self-care is very important. It's like you're in an aeroplane and they tell you, when you read the instructions as you board the flight, maybe when the hostesses are demonstrating all the life-saving whatever, you read the instructions as well. One of the things they tell you is that whenever anything happens and the oxygens drop, before you say, I want to take it and put it on my child, the first thing they tell you is carry that oxygen mask and put it on yourself before you think of putting it on your daughter or your, and then you think, oh, that's being self. No, it's not. If you don't do that, you're putting it on your daughter, you might collapse. So you yourself, you need to take care of yourself before you can take care of other people. That's the thing. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of other people. So it's not a matter of being selfish, please. Self-care is very important. So you can add this to your routine. Getting out of depression, you're an important being, you're unique. Love yourself, pamper yourself, take care of yourself, be relaxed. And then that way you can be able to calm down, focus on how you can move forward with your life and also help people around you. You said you had experienced all of these things. And look at you now, actually here, helping, making a change to other people, connecting with other people and helping them. So I think that's one of the most important things, self-care.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself so you can spread.
So you can be able to take care of others. When you take care of yourself, that's only when you can be able to take care of others.
Exactly.
On this note, this is not the end of mental health. This is not the end of it. We are still going to be hammering on it. So until next time, thank you for staying with us. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.